Hi, welcome to your carrier update brought to you by PowerFleet. I'm Mike Vincent. He's Zach Strickland. Let's hit it, man.
I am. We had a hurricane hit the Gulf Coast this week.
We certainly did. We certainly did.
Typically, we expect tender rejection rates to soar at this point in time, but not quite yet. It does take time for these things to manifest inside the market as people are staging and moving things around, but also the market's historically tight, and it's been so for the last year. We've crossed over this boundary right here where our tender rejection rates actually moved underneath last year's values for the first time in a long time. And now they're starting to rise back up again. So 22.73% tender rejection rates. We got Labor Day weekend coming up. The hurricane just hit. It's a matter of time before, that's just more pressure that the market can't handle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Almost 50 vessels sitting off the coast.
Exactly. So we're probably going to see this persist for the next little bit. I would not expect that rejection rate to come back down to that 20% boundary that we saw, anytime soon, at least, especially since we're going to end the quarter here in September. And you just said it. We got a lot of demand.
Got a lot of demand coming.
And so let's go ahead and get to the chart and see where in the United States we're seeing some significant tightening, significant loosening. Weighted rejection index combines tender market share values, so volumes, with weekly change in tender rejection rate, because we're looking at near-term changes. We're not looking at the long-term changes. The market's tight. Everywhere's tighter than it has been, historically speaking. It's just where are we seeing things kind of move up and down within the context of the last week or so. And anything in blue, we're seeing tightening signals, over the last week. And anything in orange and reddish hues, those are things showing loosening signals over the last little bit. So carriers that are looking to go into Memphis, they can expect a little bit lower activity on the spot market, a little bit less upward pressure on rates. Kansas City, same thing there. Lakeland, don't take it, now's the time maybe to go into Lakeland and grab an extra freight, even though tender rejection rate's still pretty low in the context of the United States. We're talking about 12, 13% down there, where you can get into the 20s and 30s in a lot of these other markets. So
absolutely.
It may be getting a little bit tighter, but it's not absolutely tight in relation to a lot of these other markets, such as Dallas, for instance, which is right around 23%. So let's go ahead and look at the tree map and see the numbers behind this.
There it is.
So like I said, Kansas City, Memphis, all showing easy signals, significant easing week over week. So you should not expect the same amount of activity out of these two places this week versus last week. Last week was already tighter than this week. And then Pendleton, Oregon, if you're a reefer carrier, now's the time to head into that area.
I'd say,
significant tightening going on up there.
Sure.
It is not a van signal that we're seeing there. I've already looked into that. But look at these big markets. Elizabeth, Joliet, Chicago, Ontario, all showing pretty decent upward pressure on the market. So
like
tightening
you said,
signals.
Jacksonville, right?
In Jacksonville. Again, Jacksonville's been red hot. Right there around the Port of Savannah, so it gets a lot of pressure over the last few months. Let's go ahead and jump into the charts to show kind of the IDA impact areas. First off, so we talked about this a little bit last time, the last segment just a few minutes ago. Everybody expects to see one of these, one of these big spikes.
Yeah, huge spike.
Look at the historical context we're talking about over the last year. This is the last year of activity. So COVID is a little bit stronger than IDA, in my opinion. So, but what's probably going to happen, and we're seeing this right now, these rejection rates are going to jump back up, and we're going to see this. But don't expect to see things go much crazier than they've already been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
We're already in the pandemic and everything that's going on with supply chains and whatnot. So this isn't going to be as significant of an event as we would expect, in the context or backdrop of what we've seen prior to COVID-19.
Gotcha.
This is, the market's tight. It's going to get tighter. There's a lot more infrastructure. They're weeks away from getting power restored.
They're weeks away,
in these areas.
So that probably delays a little bit of that recovery.
Everything.
Right? So it's going to be more of a slow burn ripple effect.
Exactly. You've got Dallas and Birmingham, all kind of nearby staging areas where carriers are going to sit and wait. They're seeing rejection rates jump up. But this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. You know,
Yeah.
it does not, everything becomes much less efficient when we have a natural disaster, which is what we saw back there in February, where you see this big spike here.
Yeah,
That
yeah, oh
winter
yeah,
weather
that's the Great
event-
Freeze.
Yeah, winter weather event was far more disruptive. So don't expect one of these. The market was in an easing pattern at
Yeah,
that
it was
point.
a huge state. It was an entire state that really screwed everything up. This is a relatively small market.
Yeah.
Very, very important for the millions of people that are being
Right.
affected, no doubt about it. But in terms of freight, it's not that big of a market.
It's not going to help things get looser, but it's
Right,
probably going to
true.
send a few of these markets into a little bit more of a tightening pattern.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Zach.